The top 10 records I listen to now or since 1964, or let me check my computer. No, I'm sure I don't have it there. Boy, this is a head scratcher. I'll come back to you next on the Safe and Sound Texas Audio Excursion. Well, I tried to pull the ones out that I think I just regularly listen to in one format or another, either on vinyl or CD, streaming. You know, what do I listen to the most? And here's my 10, and I got a couple honorable mentions. So first is Can't Buy a Thrill by Steely Dan. I don't think that'll be a surprise to anybody. I've talked about that ad hominem on my channel. The next one is a Beatles. Had to have a Beatles. Abbey Road is probably the one I listen to the most. What can you say about Abbey Road that hasn't already been said? Classic. Next one is Alan Parsons Project. Now, I had several of these that I was looking at, with Eye in the Sky being the one I went back and forth with this, but I picked this one, Vulture Culture, because it's a less known one, and I really enjoy it a lot. And it's one of those I don't think that got its due. So check it out. It's a cheap album. Vulture Culture by the Alan Parsons Project. Next, Boston's debut album. It's a classic. This is the half-speed mastered on Epic Records. Saw them in concert. They stunk, but it doesn't change the fact that this is one of the best debut albums to ever come out in rock. Chicago 17, I love a lot of Chicago albums. I could have put CTA, the first album. I could have put Chicago 2. I mean, just so many of them I could have picked. But this one, honestly, that I usually will play this most often. The mastering and the mix and the engineering with David Foster producing. This really is one that I enjoy to listen to. And obviously it's got a lot of hits on it, and it's got a lot of songs on it that weren't hits but are great tunes as well. Chicago 17, another cheap one to pick up. Cosmos Factory. Oh boy, I love this because I can remember back when I was a kid, a teenager, I was working at a county fair for a restaurant that was near our house, and they had a hot dog booth that we set up, and it was near a ride called the Himalaya. And this was a really fast, not a roller coaster, but kind of a loop that went round and round and had ups and downs and went backwards. And they would play a loud siren when it was going backwards, and they played tons of Creedence Clearwater. And I had this album just memorized in my head, and it has so many great CCR tunes, and of course the long version, unique version of I Heard It Through the Grapevine. Ramble Tamble. I mean, this is just a great record. By the way, the one they sell on Amazon right now is the one that was pressed at QRP, Chad Kasem's pressing plant, and it sounds amazing. Here's a sleeper. Paul Carrack, One Good Reason. This album is one I use to test out equipment and systems. It sounds so good. Great tunes. Don't Shed a Tear was a hit off this, but every song on here is a great rocky blues kind of album. If you've never heard it, give it a spin. The Eagles' debut album. Well, another classic. I played this a lot when I was younger. I really enjoy the Mobile Fidelity one step of this. It's my go-to that I listen to. It bested this OG, which I didn't think could be bested, but it did. Great album. Here's a couple you might not know. This is Mute Math, a band called Mute Math. This is Play Dead. This is one of their last records that came out. And I play this a lot, love it, as is their previous album to that called Vitals, which is another great album. Mute Math, an indie band, disbanded a few years ago, but really good stuff. Their early LPs are extremely expensive to buy. I have them on CD, but the LPs are several $100s. So the later ones are more available at a reasonable price. So check them out. A couple honorable mentions when they are basically the 2022 album of the year and now the 2023 best of half year, one by Nick Perry and the Underground Thieves, Terra Firma, and of course Tears for Fears last year with The Tipping Point. I played these a ton in this case, the last a little over a year, and in this case, the last month or so. And I think they'll stay on rotation pretty hot and heavy. And I note those as honorable mentions. So those are my top ones. It's really hard to narrow it down, to tell you the truth. I know I missed a lot of them that I would put in there if I had a top 20, but those are the 10. So for now, thanks for watching as always. If you want to subscribe, press that subscribe button and pick the all option for notifications, and a thumbs up or like is appreciated. Comments are there. Have you ever heard of some of these bands and these records? Anything interesting to you? What about your list? Let's see it. So for now, thanks for watching as always, and we'll catch you next time on our next Safe and Sound Texas audio excursion. Take care, everybody.